Before we begin, I have some sad news to share.
Is this starting?
John, Brent, and Anthony have all been hospitalized following a hostage rescue cabin explosion.
Ooh, super action and intense.
But the show must go on. This is Super Media All-Stars. There's a theme, right? Yeah, hit the theme. Let's begin.
Here we go. Woohoo. Hi, everybody.
Start the insanity.
You are not worried, are you?
Me? No.
Well, we're waiting.
I am, for now, your host, Andy Gill, and I'm joined tonight by three other All-Stars, the first being Jake Boston.
A fast 5, 6, 7, 8. Whoa, here it comes. Watch out, rock, it'll burn you up.
Jesus.
Whoa, here it comes. It's a skyscraper.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Alright, calm down, everybody. I'm starstruck. Next up, we've got Riley Briggs.
I got a song too.
Ooh.
Hey now, Super Media All-Stars, get your game on, go play. Hey now, Super Media All-Stars, let's start with the show now. Get paid. Get paid?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm in hell. And also making his return to the podcast, Seth Churchill.
Oh man, God, you guys smell that? Oh man, I think it smells like something burning. Like, is that coming from the kitchen? I think I can smell what the rock is
God
cooking.
damn it.
I think you can smell it, guys.
What does it smell like?
It smells like bullets and fire.
You know?
Well, we're off to a great start. This will be Super Media All-Stars once we get it together.
Episode 51.
Episode 51, yes. This is the Skyscraper review episode, if you didn't check the title beforehand. And, confession, John, they're not dead, or whatever I said. They're
at a Kingdom Hearts concert.
a fate worse than death. Well,
Just the most.
yeah, just John and Anthony, and...
Not just John.
Clarify
just
that,
John.
Because a Kingdom Hearts concert is a concert with Kingdom Hearts music, not a play about Kingdom Hearts.
yes.
It's an orchestra.
Yeah, it's just an orchestra playing, like... Do they play Disney songs, or are they playing, like, songs from the game, like originals?
Sanctuary!
Like that stuff. That's all I can think of.
They make you dress up like Disney characters and dance around.
So it's like a participation show.
Yeah, it's very strange.
I'm very not into that.
Came straight from Japan. Very good.
So anyway, as we normally start out, because I know how the show goes, what have you guys been watching?
I've seen a lot of movies again, because that's what
All
I do.
right.
That's my thing. I saw Tag. I saw Tag.
Okay.
I really wanted my review to be Tag Your Shit, but it's not that bad. It's okay. It's like every comedy that's come out this year so far. Date Night and God, there's another one.
Was it Game Night?
Yeah, not Date Night. Game Night.
Yeah.
Shit. They're all just like mediocre, a little better than mediocre.
Oh, Game Night's not great.
Everybody was jizzing themselves over it, and I just thought it was okay.
I really
must have
liked
been a
the
mess.
trailer.
I really liked it. I don't see a lot of those kind of movies.
You didn't
Yeah.
jizz yourself?
No, I would say it was great, but it was good.
Oh, Blockers was the other one.
Oh, Blockers.
Yeah.
How was that?
Okay, all of those movies
Huh.
I gave a 3 out of 5. Like, some of it was funny. Game Night was definitely the best one out of the bunch.
Okay,
but,
good.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Tag is okay. The first half hour Tag is really fucking good, and then it's okay, and then they get like a love triangle, which is stupid, and the ending is depressing as fuck.
Is it because it's like about a bunch of guys who have been friends forever? So
Yeah, and they play Tag every year for like 1 month.
yeah, and
Out of the year.
it's based on a true story, right?
Yeah, and all the guys in the true story are like in their 50s and overweight and just like, just dad mode.
Well, is the one guy is he like Jeremy Renner, but he's just the guy who's in normal shape, so the other fatties can't get him?
Well, there is no Jeremy Renner in the real one. Like, there's
What?
no guy that hasn't been tagged ever.
That makes me sad.
Yeah, and in this movie, Jeremy Renner in real life broke both of his arms.
Oh yeah. I remember reading that because he.
I know what stunt it was too. There's this one scene where like he has to jump on stacks of chairs, and he goes out the window and he's gonna escape, but then something happens and he has to go back in the building. He jumps back on the stack of chairs, and when he sits on them, all of them fall. I'm guessing he crashed and burned on that one.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he had to film the majority of this movie with 2 broken arms. And you can't tell at all because he's just like wearing a jacket and shit.
The Rock would never get injured on
No,
set.
The Rock wouldn't break anything.
The Rock
He's made of rock,
flexes his
yeah.
cast
The Rock
off.
would break all of those chairs.
Yeah. Those chairs can't support The Rock anymore. When I was watching Skyscraper, when we were watching it, I noticed he never sat down on a chair, not once. All benches.
He doesn't need to. He just balances on his peg leg.
He looked weird.
All he needs.
Does anybody else watch anything? Riley?
Oh yeah, I got a list.
All right.
Should I just read them
Someone's
off, and
prepared.
Someone can ask me something about. We started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, been binging through that.
That's always good.
We watched the second season of Glow. When I
You
say
watched
we,
all of it?
I mean me and my wife Alyssa.
Yeah.
Almost done with.
I'm like
with
halfway through, and it's been really good so far.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
We just finished, caught up all the way on The Handmaid's Tale. It just ended, the second season ended, or third season, whatever it's on.
I heard a lot of people were like upset about the ending of season 2, like the cliffhanger. Without any spoilers, how'd you feel about it?
I was alright with it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's what that show's about.
Everybody died.
We watched.
Everybody got raped. I'm guessing.
Well, that's the
That's
whole
what that
show.
show does.
Yeah,
It's
the whole show is
depressing,
depressing.
bleak as
Babies
fuck.
getting ripped
Makes
away.
everyone
Yeah.
hate each other.
Not my thing.
What else? Queer Eye. We watched all the Queer Eye on Netflix.
I noticed you're wearing a really nice shirt.
Tips from the
Yeah.
Fab Five.
I'm wearing sweatpants. I could use some tips.
Yeah, those are fashionable ones at least.
They're joggers. But
Yeah. Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. I just had a new drop on Netflix.
That show is like the show to watch when you're doing something else.
Yep.
It's just like a background show.
I play a Switch while I have it in the background. I like that kind of show. Arrested Development. I watched that. When did that come
oh
out?
yeah, it's the first half of season 5. It came out
Yeah.
like last month, I
They're
think.
doing that weird. I think the only reason why
Yeah.
they did that is so they could be nominated for Emmys this year.
I think that too, and I also thought it was weird. Did you notice when you were watching it how Portia de Rossi is like very clearly green screened into all of her scenes?
Or like when she can't
Yeah.
be with her mom, they just put a sack over her.
Yeah.
It's definitely not her, but she had
Oh.
to be in the scene with that character.
Yeah, and I think that's like their last scene together, and then because she said she's retired from acting or whatever.
Okay.
It's really weird.
It's not as noticeable as the last Netflix season that they did.
Oh, yeah, that was
Oh,
like
yeah.
all green screen. That
Yeah.
was horrible.
I noticed when they redid the season 4 remix, they added in certain things that look really bad. Like you see like Lucille 2 and the lawyer on green screen a lot. That looks like terrible, just awful.
Yeah. Okay, I wrote that down. Lost in Space was alright. It's like a family sci-fi kind of show.
Is this all the stuff you've watched in the past 8 months? And
So this is like 3 weeks maybe.
This is his whole life.
I'll stop that.
I remember my birth. All right. What about you, Seth?
Actually, I'm gonna go a little weird. I'm watching this. I don't know if it's weird, but no,
We'll be the judge of that.
yeah, exactly, right. No, I'm watching a Prime Video only. I just watched this thing called Buskers for Love or Money. It's actually one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and what it is for those of you who don't know what a busker is, because in America, not everybody knows this, but it's
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because you're American.
This is American First podcast.
Is it deep fried and delicious?
Yeah, it sounds like something you eat, maybe. No, it's a street performer, okay? But, most of it covers street performers that aren't musicians, and what it is basically this guy who juggles chainsaws in Venice Beach, went around the world touring as a busker, and filmed all these other professional street performers who do some of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It's just a video of all these other people, and he interviews them on how much money they make. And I mean, you got people swallowing fire and swallowing swords and doing acrobats and, comedy stuff on the streets. And I mean, you see the weirdest...
Alive statues.
living
yeah.
statues are on it. Yeah, crazy juggling. I mean, just some of the most ridiculous stuff you could ever imagine. And all thrown into one documentary. They go to Amsterdam, and they go, all the corners that are Japan and everything. I freaking love it. I'll be honest. I would suggest that. So Buskers for Love or Money, and then another one that I watched recently. This movie called La Strada. Anybody know that one?
Uh-uh.
Okay, that's another weird one, right?
Getting weird, all right.
Getting weird, yeah. But these are I'm suggesting them, right? Because this is a movie by Fellini. He's a very famous Italian director. It's an Italian movie, so of course nobody knows this shit. But
Right.
Is it old?
Yeah, it's a 1930s black and white movie, and I just
Fellini.
Getting some culture
Yeah, you
in this
are.
podcast. What the hell?
yeah, trying to get something interesting here. Yeah, I'm going all over the world. No, but they, I saw this movie was suggested to me. So like, highly reviewed. You know, what really super high reviews. Like, if you look it up, I'm sure it's like 99% or something.
It's on like the
It's-
top 100.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Because, you know, consider like worldwide. And what it is black and white, and you gotta read subtitles. But basically, La Strada means the road, and it's like this. Just sum it up, it's probably the most depressing movie I've ever seen in my life.
Great.
This girl gets bought out by a guy who's a strong man who travels in a motorcycle, who just goes from city to city showing off his strength. It's pretty embarrassing. Like, all he does is rip apart a chain.
He's like a carnival show kind of.
Yeah, and he's like, watch me break this chain, and that's his whole bit, and then he asks everybody for money. But then he goes to this girl's house at the very beginning, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you $10,000 to give me your daughter," and that's how it starts.
Oh.
And then she's like, and then she's like, she doesn't have any skills, and she's like, I don't care, just give me your daughter. And then they sell her because they're poor, and then she goes with them, and basically, I mean, I'm not trying to spoil it or anything, but he's like abusive and horrible to this person.
Oh, great.
It is one of the most depressing movies, but man, is it really, really good. And then,
what was that movie called again? Just
La Strada.
La Strada.
Yeah, La
All
Strada.
right.
Like, I'd really highly recommend watching it, because it'll, like, you're watching it, and there's this point in the movie where everything changes, and, like, I mean, I'm not going to ruin it, but it's like you're going about, you're like, what's going to happen here? What's happening? And then everything changes, and your jaw just, like, drops for the last, like, 20 minutes.
I feel like the more you say I'm not going to ruin it, the closer you get to ruining it.
I'm like, I just want to ruin the movie.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about like your cultural thing, I watched some cultural stuff. I watched the Jay Cutler reality show to bring it back to my Chicago Bears love.
It's not his reality show. It's his wife's.
It's his wife's reality show. But
Pussy whip.
okay, he's the highlight of that show. I watched one episode of that because I was like, yeah, it's interesting. He wasn't in it enough.
I was
so
going to say, did he
stopped.
show up for 5 minutes at the end? He's like, I'm in the show now.
Yeah,
He didn't even say the name of the show.
It's I don't really. It's very Cavalieri or very Cavallari makes more sense.
That's it.
Yeah.
My wife watches Total Divas, and that came on after.
Oh, really?
I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this?
It was funny because they took things that Jay says on the show and ESPN was reporting on them as if they were news. And then I watched Netflix's Love. Have you guys ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
I've seen all that, yeah.
Seen all of it.
We just started season 3. I like it a lot better than season 1 and 2 because I feel like they fixed all the bad characters. They kind of, like, the little girl was really obnoxious. Now she's a lot better.
So you watched where they went to the beach house?
Yeah, that was hilarious. I loved that.
The Bluetooth speaker?
Yeah.
That was the best.
Yeah.
The guy, okay, I'm going to spoil the first episode of season 3. The guy
Skip,
was
30-second skip if you don't want to hear it.
the guy was masturbating, and he hasn't had sex in like a while, so he had to get his rocks off, and he thought that the sound was off, but it was projecting on Bluetooth speakers, so everybody could hear when he was jerking off.
Like when he's like in the bathroom, he's like, "What the hell?" He's turning it up. It's like blaring.
It's in the middle of the night. It's like 2 in the morning.
And that setup episode was better than anything in the previous 2 seasons. So I really enjoyed that. I was like, I could probably get into this. And then I catch my girlfriend watching Hoarders every once in a while on Amazon Prime, and I had to stop because she showed me this thing where they made this woman put on gloves and pull a dead cat out of the bottom of her fridge. And I'm like, and they showed the cat. I'm like,
Gross.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm sorry.
That's so disgusting.
It's pretty bad. Hoarders, if you want to get more depressed than watching a 1930s child slavery
No, it makes you
strongman
feel good about
movie.
yourself. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You're like, my house is dirty, but damn.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason you watch that stuff.
Unless you are a worse hoarder, it makes you feel better.
At least they didn't pull out like a 2-year-old.
Oh my god.
You watch that in those shows where people are super overweight just so you feel really good about
Yeah. It's like,
yourself.
oh, you're right.
Just grab a hole and juggle all those balls in the air. How hard can it be? So hard you'll get too dizzy. Flip those balls in the air. Keep those balls in the air.
Anyway, I'm going to bring back a segment we haven't done in a while on Super Media All-Stars. Just some quick movie news, because there was some interesting stuff going on in the news recently.
Right.
First up, Jim Carrey cast as Dr. Robotnik in the Sonic the Hedgehog live-action movie. Thoughts?
Oh, yeah.
What happened to Jim Carrey?
So did we already know there was a Sonic the Hedgehog movie coming?
Yeah.
There have been rumors forever, and then it finally has an IMDb page with solid information on it.
It's like an Alvin and the Chipmunks where Sonic is animated, but he's in the real world. That type of shit.
I kind of like it because it's like so ridiculous that it's who knows, it's probably be horrible, but that's so hilarious.
Well,
Jim Carrey, that's the
he's
funniest.
teaming up with
Dumb.
a detective. Or
Yeah,
something.
I can't remember
Yeah.
who plays the detective, but it's
I
somebody
can't either.
big.
Yeah, it's super weird.
It's not. It's gonna be ridiculous. That's like not a very good concept. But then again, like I'm watching.
I
Like,
hope-
It's from the director of Deadpool, Tim Miller.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the CG should be really fucking good because his studio that he has, like all the CG was made super cheap for the first Deadpool, and it looks really good. So
as long as it's funny, like you got to play off the comical aspect of the whole entire concept, right? Because it's not. That's not normal. None of that's normal. Like that's.
I can see like a CG Sonic with like those crazy, like a lot of that stuff is like practical-ish. But
Yeah.
like a lot of green screen too.
Yeah, which
I could go for that.
I think it'd be cool. I love Sonic, so hearing about this actually makes me excited. I love Jim Carrey too.
Yeah.
I think it's a weird thing, but Jim Carrey's ridiculous. So if anybody can be crazy, it's definitely him.
Right.
is he going to be like in a fat suit?
He has to.
Oh,
be, right?
I would think so.
I just hope it's nothing like Grinch. Like I hated
That's-
Jim Carrey in the Grinch.
The
That's
Grinch
why
is
I
bad.
mentioned it because that's ridiculous. That's like.
I
not
hope they
good.
show him as like a CGI child, Jim Carrey, like in The Grinch, which was disgusting.
Yeah, it was. That whole thing
It's
is the
horrible.
scariest, weirdest thing ever. Like
I didn't mind him in a series of unfortunate events. That's
Yep.
what it is. Yeah, I
You
didn't
got
mind him in that.
nailed
He was
it.
in. Yeah, he had the big nose like Eggman does, so I can see him being kind of good because he can be fucking anything.
It'll be like
Yeah, he's a
fat,
good
it'll be like
character
Fat
actor.
Bastard, like
Oh, yeah.
maybe like that,
And you guys saw the two new images of the DC Cinematic Universe movies. There was the one from Shazam, one from Aquaman. Shazam, you've got Chuck standing next, or what the hell's that guy's name?
Zachary Levi.
Zachary Levi standing next to the kid that kind of like becomes him or something. I'm not sure how Shazam works exactly.
Well, it's like big. Like that's what they're trying to go for. It's just like this 10-year-old kid who gets these powers. He says Shazam, and he turns into this fucking superhero.
But why would there be a shot of them together
I'm
unless
guessing
it's
it's
like,
the best friend.
or it could be like a production.
yeah.
That makes sense too.
I'm guessing like they're just going to where they usually go to get their slushy or shit.
I thought the whole thing is they just drink soda and stand there.
That's what the screenshot was. Yeah, that's the whole movie.
It's the whole movie.
They
It's just
actually
a
spoiled
Coke ad.
it. Yeah.
I'm way more excited for Shazam than I am Aquaman.
I
Aquaman
kind of
I'm
am too.
interested in, but Jason
Yeah.
Momoa in that fucking Justice League movie was horrible. Dude,
Speaking of Aquaman, the other image was the Black Manta helmet.
that looked cool, though.
Which did look cool, but I don't think Black Manta is not cool anyway. Like he was like a jokey character from the Super Friends. Like what's going on with that movie? Apparently it's done, and it was done before Justice League. It just hasn't come out yet.
Well, because all of the CGI and stuff takes forever. Like,
Is that what
that's
they were
why
doing?
They haven't released a trailer yet.
Oh, okay.
It comes out in October.
Does it? What?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was
It comes
going
out
to be.
before Venom.
Oh my god!
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't seen. Okay, that's.
I'm guessing we'll see a trailer during Comic-Con this weekend.
Oh boy, yeah, that's.
They didn't give anything. I mean, one
a good
picture
point.
doesn't say damn thing about anything.
Right.
It's just like, that's weird. I can do that.
And then finally,
It's directed by James Wan, though.
oh yeah,
The guy who did like The Conjuring and
Yeah.
Furious 7
like
and a bunch of
that.
weird shit.
I remember seeing that and thinking that I had a little more confidence in the movie because I like how he directs action scenes. He's a very good action director.
It's
So
like
we'll
all
have to
DC,
see.
right? You just really hope, and then
Yeah.
Yeah, you really hope, and then you go to the theater and get disappointed.
yeah, and you just go away going, "Come on, man."
And on the other side of the comic book spectrum, Black Widow is getting a solo film and got a director named. I didn't write the director's name down because
It's a female director.
It's a female director. That's
Australian
all anyone
director.
cared about.
She hasn't done like anything.
Yeah. My question on this is, do you guys think that Marvel is a little bit behind DC when it comes to having the all-female kick-ass movie? And is Scarlett Johansson... Not Scarlett, I was going to say Scarlet Witch. Is Black Widow a good hero to do a solo movie for in the first place?
Captain Marvel, right? Like that's gonna do it to me. I think Black Widow. I mean, no offense to Scarlett Johansson or whatever, but like I don't know.
If they were going to do a Black Widow movie, they should have done it like 5 years ago.
Yeah, it's already like culminated into something so awesome that I think you're going backwards. Too bad. And I'm not saying that they can't do it right. I just don't think the character matters enough to people.
I'm guessing she won't die in
Oh,
Avengers
yeah, exactly.
4. She's getting her own solo movie.
Well,
No,
they
it
also,
takes place before it.
Or, yeah, it could do that too.
Oh, does it?
Yeah,
Okay, but they also announced a Doctor Strange 2, Spider-Man Homecoming 2, like Coming Home or whatever, is
Far From Home
is announced and confirmed. I think Far From Home could mean in the alternate dimension.
Well,
read my theory.
They did that because Sony is just desperate. They're like,
Yeah.
here's the movie we're doing.
They're just gonna keep going backwards. Like they could keep making movies that happened before Infinity War. I mean, that's gonna
Except
get old.
Spider-Man is after Infinity War.
No, but I mean, they could just go way before it. I guess
They could, yeah.
Yeah, they could just keep doing that. They could do that for years. We'll never see the end of it.
They could, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Captain Marvel's a prequel too.
Yeah, like
That's gonna be awesome.
they
that
could
should be
leave
cool.
that ball up in the air for like 10 more years, and that would be really pretty terrible. You know, like,
Well, they clearly want to because they're announcing all this new stuff. They're bringing in a bunch of new heroes they've wanted to do for a while, and they can basically do whatever they want now because they know that even their commercial failures make money, like compared to the other ones. Like they all do well.
yeah, I wish they wouldn't rake that. You know, do it justice. Don't just sit there and milk the cow. You know,
Right. Well, we are.
milking Scarlett Johansson.
Sure.
Jesus.
Fight to survive!
Well, we are talking tonight about an action movie, so I thought I'd get your opinions on some of your favorite, maybe not favorite, but some notable action movies that Skyscraper might have reminded you of. And I can kick the ball off here real quick.
Yeah, you should. Can I cut in for a second?
Yes.
You know how I'm the heist?
And
Everybody calls me, and I didn't give it to myself. Just everybody else called
I've
me.
never heard
Nobody
that.
called you that. You just said it.
No, I mean, I like heist movies, but everybody just knew that, and they just kept on calling me the heist hound.
Oh yeah, what's up, High Sound? What's going on?
That's what they do on the street. It's nuts.
And they howl
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah.
Oh!
But I was going to save this until the 1 year extravaganza, but I gave you, Andy Gill, a nickname.
Oh.
And it's with action.
Oh my god.
I think you are the action advocate.
The action? Yeah! Hell yeah!
That's exactly
Oh,
what you are.
Oh, that's a new.
I am
that's
honored.
a new DC movie. That's gonna be a new DC. Yeah,
I am the action advocate, and now every time I'm on the podcast, I'm going to mention the fact that I am now the action advocate.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah, you gotta wear a
And
cape. It's
I don't
gonna
like
be great.
it. It's too long.
Come on.
Sounds like a cheesy movie to me.
Well, I'm about to shit all over that title because the first movie I was going to bring up was a movie that Skyscraper reminded me of in a few ways. Collateral Damage with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, that's not a good movie at all.
No, this is a terrible movie. I actually watched some clips of this just to refresh myself on it. And I watched it, I think, first time when it came out when I was like 15 or 16 or something. My dad rented it. And watching it again, there's an awful amount of fake CGI fireballs. There's like bad, like stupid terrorist wire foo stuff that doesn't belong. But Skyscraper reminded me of this movie because I feel like they're both poorly cast with the main character. Because you try to make an everyman action hero movie, like Die Hard being like the prototypical movie like that, and you get these like huge, enormous, freaking muscle-bound dudes. Like Schwarzenegger is supposed to be a firefighter in this, which kind of makes sense because those guys have to be strong or whatever. But he's like, I can't believe that he's anything but like the Terminator or some other killing machine man, like Commando or something.
He's not an average everyday man. He's too junky.
Absolutely not. And I will get into this with our when we talk about Skyscraper. But my God, I don't believe that he's anything but the Terminator at this point.
Yeah, no doubt.
So just come on.
He's an office worker. He's
exactly
normal,
right.
nice guy.
Well, I'll go around clockwise. We'll hit up Riley.
I was gonna say Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So it's good. That's cool.
Trying to think how to compare it, but I think along the lines of
Awesome. I love that
modern classic. I would call that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna go down.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think when we look back at, like, in 20 years, you look back at Mad Max movies, you're going to think of Fury Road instead of the older ones.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's just non-stop. Definition of action, man.
Yeah. The movie literally just goes to one place and then they go back. Like, that's all they do in the movie, and it's so fucking amazing.
It's just crazy to watch.
I like in Fury Road how it basically doesn't stop except for the one scene where they get where they think they're going and then they realize they can't go there and they have to turn around. That's like the only real pause in the action. Everything else is just like go, go, go. We're being chased the entire movie. Yeah, that's a really great one.
Yeah, well, let's see here. I guess I'm going to do the easiest one. It's probably probably my favorite action movie of all time is Die Hard.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's the exact same. It's not exactly Skyscraper, but
Okay.
Skyscraper takes a lot from Die Hard.
Mhm.
Tries to. You just can't compete with Die Hard. Like it's the
That's
first
it.
time that like an average man was like the big action set piece. Before that, it was like Stallone and Schwarzenegger and all that shit. And
I actually have a
he's
good,
balding man.
I can tie that back to Collateral Damage because originally Schwarzenegger was supposed to be the lead in Die Hard, but he didn't like the script or something. He dropped out.
Do you know who else was?
I'm probably
Who?
that dude.
Frank Sinatra.
No.
Yeah,
Oh
because
man.
technically, Die Hard is a sequel to a movie that Frank Sinatra made called The Detective.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And so they called him, even though Sinatra hasn't played the role in like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, why the fuck would I want to do this? So he just stopped.
I
And
can't
it's-
imagine it any other way. That's what's so weird about that one.
Oh, I know. If you put Schwarzenegger in there, I don't think it becomes the classic it is.
Nope, gets thrown in his pile of like generic action
Yep.
stuff that he does. I mean, he's not everyday man. He's enormous.
And it's funny because 30 years ago this week, Die Hard came out.
I think they did that on purpose
They
with
had to have,
Skyscraper.
right?
They had to at least have known what they were doing.
Yeah. They're just trying to copy Die Hard every fucking way they can.
Yeah.
But you can't because Die Hard, like, the characters, like, even, there's goons, of course, but Hans Gruber is, like, one of the best bad guys ever.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like that. Well, we'll get into it with Skyscraper. We'll talk about it.
Okay. All right, and this one kind of blurs the lines with like sci-fi fantasy, maybe, but it's definitely one of the greatest action movies ever. And to me, honestly, I put these movies right on the top of possibly my favorite movies ever, which is the Matrix movies.
Yep.
All of them?
Yeah, dude, that trilogy.
The
to
first
me-
one.
Yeah, but the first one obviously set the bar and changed
Oh, yeah.
the world in
Yep.
many ways. But I will say, in my opinion, that trilogy is my favorite trilogy ever. Like that, the story, the way it's tied to kind of link to like God and stuff. It's like God and computers combined, and nobody will ever touch what that. It's just the story is freaking crazy. But that doesn't even explain like the action side of things. I mean, everybody knows, dodging bullets and the kung fu and just the nonsense, let alone just the deep story that happens. I think of all action movies, the actual plot of that is very well done. And that's something hard to do in a super action movie like that. But
And I think that also gets the everyman hero Neo at the beginning until he figures out what's going on. And then if you wanted to look at like action movies, like old action movies and new action movies, you could probably put The Matrix like as the catalyst that like changed everything to like this massive like CGI special effects thing it is
Yeah.
now.
oh yeah, definitely did.
Because like I remember watching that the first time when you see the camera move around Trinity at the
around,
beginning,
yeah.
and you're just like, how the fuck did they do that? That's insane.
And you know what? It all holds up pretty damn
Yeah.
well. Like I'll say, I'll be one of the few people. I love the Matrix Revolutions, like the third one. And most people don't like that, but if you go back and watch that movie, it is amazingly well done. It's still overwhelming. The end where all the machines invade, like the CG still is awesome. Like it just blows your mind how much is happening on screen. I freaking love it.
Yeah, those movies have their own kind of charm. I remember not liking them much, but I've never watched them a second time, so I might have to give that a
Watch
shot.
them all three in a row. That's what I did. I did that, and then I was never the same after that. It's just like,
That's what happened to you.
I remember,
that's the problem, yeah.
I remember just like the two semis crashing into each other. Like that whole set piece was amazing.
That,
Oh, yeah, the whole chase
scene
was
doesn't
great.
look as good now.
I probably not.
Some of that doesn't look as good, like you can tell, but you can't. What do you expect? I mean, it was definitely way futuristic, but then some of, like I said, the third one, there's some things that I didn't expect to hold up, but then you watch it and like that, the very final scene where the machines actually make it into the place. That held up so well, and there's like, thousands of these things on screen, and you're like, holy shit, it's so overwhelming. It's like
Spoiler alert for.
you know what? If you haven't watched it by now, it's-
I think everyone has to know how it
Last
went.
time I watched 3, I just remember being like mad and angry.
There wasn't enough in the digital world.
Yeah, and the ending.
The
I
Matrix.
hated the ending where there's just like two old people on a bench.
Yeah, that was pretty lame.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, no, I know, but I still, I don't know. I thought
It's been
it
a
was
long
satisfying.
time since I've seen
Yeah, I
it.
think you need to rewatch it, dude, because I think it's way satisfying. Everything, like when he finally, I don't want to sit there and spoil it, but no, he gets in front of the actual machine's face and lays there. And
That
lets
part
him
was pretty cool.
Inject
I
him,
remember
that
that,
looks
yeah.
awesome, and he's like talking to what would be considered God. you know, and like, you know, he's basically Jesus the whole time, you know, it's like...
I didn't
man.
get that.
No, yeah, you watch it again,
Yeah,
you'll get it'll blow your mind. It's freaking awesome.
Oh, the Holy Trinity.
Oh no! So my next one, I think Riley. I think we watched. I think the first time I watched this, we probably watched this one together. The First Blood Part 2.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we used to watch this all the time.
I was gonna say Ong Bak.
Ong Bak. Ong Bak's great too.
That was another one on my list.
Okay, well we're coming around.
Is that Asian? Is that...
Yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah,
great.
definitely.
At least we're gonna go there because, you know, we don't need to stay with all American stuff. There's a lot of...
Yeah, when I think of like action movies, though, I usually separate action and kung fu as two separate things.
I agree. Yeah.
Because kung fu movies are, I think you need to grade those on a different scale.
Yeah,
because
it's
they're
kind
so
of like
goofy.
you can put superhero movies in here too.
Yeah.
I've seen that done, you know, because those are action movies, but it's not. You
Yeah.
gotta get
I know Kung Fu.
Oh, that is kung fu. Anyway, First Blood Part 2. I think was the first movie I saw that I remember because I watched First Blood. I loved First Blood, and First Blood Part 2 is nothing like First Blood, even though it has all the same cast basically.
Well, First Blood is like an Oscar contender, like super
Yes.
serious, emotional movie about
And-
like the human psyche.
And First Blood Part 2 won 4 Razzies. It won Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Worst Screenplay, and it won Worst Original Song for Frank Stallone's Peace in Our Life,
Fucking Frank Stallone.
which I had to look up on YouTube, and it's just awful. You've all probably heard it. I'll probably put it as the transition song to this. But when I saw that, all the YouTube recommendations were all original songs for a bunch of old action movies, and I just went on a tangent with that for a while, and they're all pretty bad.
God.
But yeah, that was the first movie I remember just being like such a strange division between the first and second movie. And I remember really liking it, and I actually have never looked up reviews until like today when I was researching about it, and I never knew it was a bad movie. But I think when you think of Rambo, you think of Part 2, which is weird because it's like this over the top, has nothing to do with like the subtle story of the first Blood.
So,
First.
so you think they put like, oh, we won 4 awards? Because I mean, 4 Razzies, that's pretty good, you know. 4 awards. Award-winning movie.
I don't think they did that. Anyway, Riley.
I just wanted to mention Edge of Tomorrow is another one of those classic ones that
Yes.
I don't really watch movies like over and over again, but that's one that I in the future I can see
No
myself
way.
rewatching.
I'll be honest, for me, I hated that movie.
What?
You're talking about like it just keeps happening.
I love that
It's
freaking
an action
movie.
Groundhog.
It
Day.
never, nothing happened, man. It never.
No,
The same thing happened,
Yeah,
man.
exactly. I can make that movie.
I'm so with you on this, Riley. I love Edge of Tomorrow. I've watched Edge of Tomorrow I've watched it 5 times. I think.
I need to rewatch it because I
It's
don't know
great.
what to talk
Dude,
about.
yeah,
it, but
you
I
just loop one
it's like-
chapter and you watch it over and over again.
I love the scene where Tom Cruise is trying to get to Emily Blunt and he just keeps dying over and over. So it looks
he
like
never makes it.
it looks like a video game montage of just dying over and over. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
There's nothing like that movie. I will say that.
Yeah.
But you know.
It's not super high on my list, but I like it. It's a decent movie, and they're making a sequel, which is kind of cool. I don't know what they're gonna do about it, but it should be fun.
I think isn't it gonna be the prequel where it shows Emily Blunt's story? That's what I thought it would be, but I really don't
No,
know
it's the
either.
same movie.
Show it again.
Different angles.
Yeah, pretty cool because I heard Tom Cruise has like a contract where they're gonna digitally alter him to look
De-age him.
50. Yeah, like
Jesus.
50 years old for the rest of his life.
I hope.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what bankrupted the Mummy, right?
He hasn't been in a movie in years. It's just CG forever.
Yeah. They actually don't let him out of the chapel of the Scientology.
Let's see here. I can't believe nobody said this. This is my Die Hard and this movie are pretty much tied for me.
Predator.
Nope.
Terminator.
Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
Judgment
Terminator
Day.
2 is the greatest thing
It's
ever.
so fucking good. I think it was my first action movie I ever watched.
Really?
I think so. And I was 8 and way too young and loving the holy hell out of it.
It does in a little way cross the little sci-fi kind of story concept.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the whole future, save the future, whatever.
But you know, definitely nobody in the world's not thinking. You think action, boom, Terminator. That pops in my head next to Die Hard. So you know,
Well, the T-1000 is amazing. Liquid metal and just
Oh,
all the things you could do. And in
so
93
awesome.
when it came out, now is just
The
fucking
effects on that still kind of hold up today,
Yeah, they do.
which blows my mind every time I see it on TV or whatever. I'm like, holy shit, this looks great.
Yeah, even
when-
the liquid metal looks good still, which is,
when you're fucking driving a motorcycle against a goddamn semi.
Oh my god.
In a fucking alleyway or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck that is, like a waterway that's
Yeah.
right up in Los
Yeah.
Angeles. So fucking cool. There's
That
so many
is-
good parts.
there's too many good parts. Like,
Yeah.
that is as intense as it gets. Action all the way. And I'll say, like, they use a lot of practical, real stuff. And
Yeah, they do.
that's
That's
the
what makes
good-
it good.
That is 100% what makes it good. Like, I'm so, CG's all good, but I'm pretty sick of, like, people doing that because you can't see through it. Even the best CG, it's not real. And then when you have something like that where it's like the guy's riding a motorcycle next to a semi, like, when it explodes and all this stuff, it's like, damn.
That's why some of my favorite action movies, or the majority of them, are from like the 80s and 90s because they had to actually do it, and you can tell.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yep, real stuff. Yep. Okay.
What you got for us, Seth?
I'm gonna go with one that actually I feel like people rag on this, but at the time I think people liked it, and then I feel like South Park kind of ruined this. To be honest, it's one of those things.
All right.
The movie 300. Now, it's not like a shoot 'em up action movie, but man, is there action! I love the action in that movie. Like, when I left the movie theater, I was freaking out because I did nothing like that.
I remember. I'm with you. I don't watch that anymore. I used to watch it like maybe once a year, once every couple of years, but I haven't seen it in a while. 302 was bad.
I didn't even.
Yeah.
do
Rise
that.
of an Empire, horrible.
That was a pretty bad movie. Yeah, but I remember the first 300 being so weird and out there, just like all the weird creatures and like the people that were like proto people and all this shit. It was,
It's
Freaked you
super
out.
over the top, but man, I remember watching it in theaters, and it is so over the top that visually that is insane. I don't know, awesome action. Overall, not really much substance, but
Yeah.
I think South Park kind of pointed out how it was just like over the top with new jabs, and then everybody kind of just hated it. So it's
The Lesbos club they go into. Yeah, they hit that one pretty hard. I remember that.
yeah.
Well, we kind of mentioned a couple of things we've noticed about older movies and newer action movies, but do you notice any other specific differences between like the old school 80s 90s action and today's what we get with Skyscraper, for example? I keep referencing it. Wonder why.
Yeah. Well, 80s was just like fucking baby oil muscles all the time. That's all you had.
The handshake in Predator when Carl Weathers and Schwarzenegger grab and they zoom in on their biceps with the oil. Oh, so
They just
great.
have a grip for 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see moisture coming off of them as they embrace.
It was always kind of gay. It's supposed to
Hey.
be so manly. Hey, right? No.
I watch those movies all the time.
No, not that I like the movies. I'm not saying that, but I mean they're so manly that it's just I don't know, But I will say, the CG, right? I mean, we already kind of got to that, but that's the reality is a live action, real stuff versus everything is CG now. They don't even try. It's they don't, car ramps off a building.
Right.
Nah, we'll never do that. We'll just CG it in, and then it's just
I think that's another thing you were mentioning. Well, we mentioned kind of about the Matrix blows everyone's mind because you see the 360 shot. Nowadays, if you saw that, you would not think about it because they can just do that in the computer pretty easily and more cheaply than it would take to make 10 shots of this 100 cameras around a guy.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, people don't use real explosions, all that stuff. I mean, real explosions, that's a whole different level of movie making. Not that CG isn't, revolutionizing everything, but it is.
Well, I mean, 80s, you had all the muscle guys like Stallone and Schwarzenegger. 90s, they're trying to catch the Die Hard train.
Yeah.
they
So they're
did,
doing
yeah.
Keanu Reeves and fucking Nicolas Cage. And a whole bunch of just average fucks.
Dude,
that
that
they're
is
just
so
putting up
true.
on a whole big pedestal.
That's definitely true.
Well, they give him some backstory, this guy was a Marine or something, and they say, yeah, he can kick ass. Obviously, he was a Marine. Duh.
Yeah, and in the 80s, you had to bench at least 300 pounds. You couldn't be in a movie. That's
Yeah,
cool.
big fucks.
Well, now you just have to do little fly curls, and they throw you in there. They say, hey, your cardio is more important than throwing up a cow on a bench press.
Yeah, Tom Cruise is not not doing anything in real life. Let's get real. That little guy, he's not magically fighting.
Although his the fact that he does his own stunts definitely kind of gives me more reason to see his movies.
I would say my favorite action franchise as of now, like present, is Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
I love that shit. Like 4 and 5 are amazing, and this new one looks fantastic too.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's punching people, it's not doing that.
No, he usually runs really fast. That's all he does in his movies.
Are they making another Bad Boys movie?
It's called Bad Boys for Life.
Okay.
It's supposed to come out January 2020. Bad Boys 2 is so underrated.
I was gonna say that's like another good franchise.
That movie's so bad, but it's amazing. It's bad in all the right ways.
Yeah.
Is it Michael Bay coming back?
I don't know.
Oh, I hope he does.
He
needs to get away from like Transformers and stuff
and do more Pain and Gain.
Yeah, I love Pain and Gain. I really like Pain and Gain.
When he does a really
not the Rock movie.
Yeah, when he has a budget of like $40 million, he's amazing. When he goes like $100 million, like Armageddon, Transformers, all that shit, it just gets way too much. It just balloons out of control.
You gotta bring up Michael Bay, right? Like that's like everything to do with action movies.
The Rock is one of my favorites. I love The Rock. And not Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
No, Alcatraz.
He only watches wrestling.
That's good. Good heist.
Anyway, that being said, if that was the side salad to this podcast, are you ready for the meat?
Wait, I want to mention White House Down, because that's like a recent movie.
You're stopping this for White House Down?
Well, that's like the closest movie recently that could compare. You know, it's Die Hard in the White House and similar graphic capabilities.
That one's actually
and
not bad.
It was good. Yeah,
it was actually pretty good.
If we're hopping in here with like movies that
throw them out.
No, I got more to throw out.
I can put the meat in the microwave.
Okay. Die Hard, they've done it all the time. Like Die Hard on a bus, Speed is fucking amazing.
Speed was totally what I was mentioning.
Die Hard on a plane, Air Force One, that type of shit. But like, there's 2 that came out within the past 5 years that are just like going up a tower, and they're fucking amazing, just like Die Hard. It's The Raid Redemption, which is fantastic,
Raid,
and Dread. They're pretty much the exact same movie.
Yeah.
One's foreign, one's American, and they're both amazing.
Yeah, you know, one thing I'll just kind of throw out there: Rush Hour, right? Is that one people like?
Moving on.
Remember the call. Oh, a cheer for my brothers. Think of them all. Home of the brave will never fall.
Let's jump into the meat. Let's just do it. You guys heard the ding? That's the microwave, and it's done. It's reheated, and it's ready to go. Let's do a very, very quick...
Was Rock cooking it? Was he cooking it?
Damn it.
Go to this joke.
Sure.
Keep jumping in, dude. I think
You know what? Let's just bring it all around. The Rock just brought out our microwave plate of meat, and it is Skyscraper. So we're going to do the first section, spoiler-free. We're going to keep it quick. I just want to hear some general thoughts about some certain things. We'll start with Riley. Plot, characters, script, the pacing of it, just general thoughts. Don't give it a score yet.
Okay. I'd say that the action was, on high action compared to the last couple movies I've seen, I guess. I was good comparing it to Jumanji. I would say that I had more action pieces, more serious action, I guess. The plot was good. It was tolerable. I didn't really care about no acting stood out to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm with you.
Pretty much.
Everybody, yes.
Yeah, that's why like the poster it just says Dwayne Johnson, and it's just him jumping into a skyscraper because you don't care about anybody else.
I mean, the kid. I thought the kid actors were good, but I didn't care about them.
They were just there. I never cared about them.
Kid actors are tough. Yeah, I mean, they just would be cute, and then when they did the casting call, they said, "Who can scream daddy the best?" Because that's all they said was like, "Daddy, mommy, yeah."
Yeah, and then just the dialogue was just really poor.
Yeah, I thought that was really bad.
It could have really been punched up a lot. Yeah. I think it could have used a lot more humor.
I believe it had one writer, and possibly someone punched it up a little bit, but
the jokes were just overdone.
Yeah, I will say there was. I don't think
overcooked.
I think there was one. There was one kind of funny line that was just funny because it was so stupid. And near the beginning, the rest of it was a pretty joyless.
It was all like dad jokes that were just like boring. I was laughing at the insane things that were happening on the action part.
I regretted not taking my dad to this movie because he would have fucking.
That is definitely a movie for your dad for sure.
Yeah. Right, general thoughts, Jake. Sorry.
This movie is just kind of like, it's trying to be a throwback movie to like the action movies of the 80s, and it doesn't get there, and the main reason why it doesn't get there is because it's PG-13. Like, it doesn't pull any punches. It plays everything safe, and you can totally tell.
Seth, general thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. I mean, there's a lot of over-the-top scenes and sequences, but here's the thing, it's kind of what we said, it's trying to be serious when, like, I busted out laughing many times just out of the ridiculousness of what he's achieving with one leg. No offense to that, you know, people can do lots of great things, but
I'm gonna mention that too, because that's...
but there's...
I had thoughts.
You know, there's fire, and there's explosions, and there's gun shooting, and it's an action movie, that's for sure. There's not a funny line in the movie, and the deliveries are pretty terrible. Pretty much stick this in the bundle of, like, generic Rock movies for me. Like, you know, it's an action movie, and it'll kind of be like the way Arnold Schwarzenegger movies kind of get bundled together sometimes. I mean,
Rock schlock, you can call it.
Yeah.
That's a good name for it.
Rock
schlock.
I felt like, just my general thoughts on it, I felt like this movie had a lot of setups for things that either paid off in the worst way possible or did not pay off, or just made no sense.
If you don't like that, restart the podcast.
Yeah,
Just shut it off and start it over.
The plot was like kind of slow and nonsensical. Even The Rock was pretty charisma free in this movie, which was kind of weird, I thought.
And throwing down the rock salt because he's playing it safe.
He didn't have any eyebrow raises or anything.
Yeah, he didn't raise a single eyebrow. Very upsetting.
No.
The score was pretty generic. The pacing was it was well paced. I'll give it that. Like, it went from set piece to set piece and didn't really drag at all.
Yep, they definitely went in a tower and went up that tower.
Yes, they did.
It's kind of hard to fuck up that pace.
They were not lying
But
in
it was
advertisements.
still thrilling and suspenseful.
The movie was like barely 90 minutes long.
I know,
we got out of the theater.
I like that.
The movie started at 7, and there were 20 minutes of previews, and we got out of the theater, and it wasn't even 9 yet. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
I mean, that movie didn't really have a whole lot of context and deep. There were no deep messages in this movie at all.
I felt like they cut a lot with the Hong Kong police. Let's just get into the spoilers. So,
Yeah.
Whoa. Don't we have a spoiler thing to do?
I'm not going to do that, and if anyone else does it, I'm going to cut it.
Oh my god, why aren't you doing that?
Maybe I can go online and find like a cool spoiler theme with an
An action
alarm.
spoiler thing, yeah.
Sorry. Wow. If you don't want... Oh, wait, you do that?
No, I do. I say spoiler.
Yeah, fuck it.
Wow, dude. Owen Wilson. Oh, wow.
Wow! The first act. The movie opens up on a cabin hostage rescue. The Rock and his team. The Rock screws up, and his team and everyone gets exploded. Cut to 10 years later, he lost his leg in the explosion, and his friend got, like, slightly scarred a little bit.
Neck scars.
Like, yeah, like a slight neck scar.
His face is totally fine.
Doesn't look bad at all, and this guy's like...
He's injured for life.
The whole plot revolves around him trying to get revenge on The Rock, kind of, in a way.
You have a family, I have nothing.
Yeah.
Whose fault is that? Jesus.
It made absolutely no... Like, his motivation made no sense to me. Like, it was like, whatever.
Technically, they never said he lost his leg from that explosion. They just show him later. They show his face all hurt, and then he just doesn't have a leg 10 years later.
Yeah, and he was 5 feet away from a bomb, like a vest bomb, and he only lost his leg.
He wasn't burned at all.
The rest of his body's fine.
Yeah, everybody died. That's the reality with that real explosion in real life, you know.
It should be a tragedy, and now it's a mediocre movie.
Yeah. My problem with The Rock and being an amputee in the movie was that the beginning of it, they played it up so hard where, like, he's struggling, he's on the toilet, struggling to get the leg on, he's hobbling down the stairs, and then... By like 30 minutes in, he's like running full sprint down the street, after he had a gunfight. Stab wound in his arm. He's totally fine, and he's just like
the greatest prosthetic leg of all time.
I felt
any movie ever made, hands down.
I felt like it was only it wasn't. He didn't need to be an amputee in the movie. It didn't really like add anything to the movie.
No, that made it unique.
Here's the thing: you have to make The Rock relatable. You can't be. Because this movie is trying to be Die Hard again, so you can't just be like fucking Sylvester Stallone in Die Hard. You have to have him have gray stubble for a beard. And
You have to cut
you
his
have
leg
to
off.
have one leg rock. Because if you have one leg rock, then he might not be as good as he normally
So,
is.
suddenly he's vulnerable, which I don't know if that's like insulting to actual amputees.
It's very insulting.
Like it's kind of weird how they not to use a pun, but leaned on that crutch a few times. Thoughts on the setup and the whole like first act? I would call the first act like the opening through when his friend betrays him and he escapes.
I will say the setup of the building was cool.
I like that too.
They didn't show enough of the building. Like there's this whole like the first 5 floors are like malls and shit, and they never go in there because the fire is set like halfway through the building. So it's only like the fire up.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. You know, I didn't really think about that. But yeah, they didn't really do like this giant fortress.
Yeah. They literally say like the first third or fourth of this building is for the public, and then you cut here, and then it's only just like where you live.
You
the
basically see
residential
like one.
shit.
You pretty much see that one spot the whole time, other than like the small amount you see that where the family is staying at. You really just see the upstairs. That sucks.
Yeah,
You know, they could have made this. Oh man, no! They could have made this big scale, like evil scientist type, like giant fortress thing with tons of extra rooms with weird stuff happening. I mean, and, you know, I don't know. Other movies do that.
Nope. Instead, you get the pearl, which you can do anything, which means put a bunch of mirrors in there.
Yeah, the part of the plot hinges on this giant pearl at the top of the building that has like cameras all over the outside. So when you turn the cameras on, you look like you're floating in the air.
Yeah, but it doesn't even do that at first.
Yeah,
like,
but
there's like literally 40 mirrors just pop up, and The Rock is just so amused by all of these mirrors. It's so stupid.
Because they projected him on all these mirrors. He's like, oh, that's all the rocks are here.
He's
It's
never
awesome.
been to a mirror maze.
He's like, oh, I don't know where you are. Oh, I thought I was talking to you, but it's not you. Oh, weird. This will never come back into play.
Yeah.
No,
You're right
that was
away.
the other thing. I felt like the dialogue at the beginning, and I know you have to explain stuff, but like when he was first talking to his wife, and they were just explaining their own lives very bluntly. Like, I'm like, dude, you guys already know this. Who are you telling this to? Like, you know, you wouldn't sit there and be like, God, I'm so, you know, you don't explain your whole life all in sentences. You can be so much more subtle, you know. I mean, I guess you got to get the points made, but it's
And then you end that pearl scene where, like, all the mirrors are just looking like you're just outside, and the main guy who owns the building just walks away.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You just have The Rock looking, and it's like, I can't find the door. Where am I looking? How do I get out of this mess?
He was in there for at least like a day. He didn't know where he was. He's just stuck in this
This
weird...
movie was a fever dream of The Rock's.
Yeah, they had a lot of weird like cuts. Like I felt like they maybe cut a bunch of some stuff and to make it move a little faster. But they had some weird cuts in some odd places, like that particularly.
They could have explained the building more and made it a character, so that
Yeah, exactly.
Andy maybe cared what happens.
They should have made the building more menacing. Just
Yeah,
like
the tower in Die Hard, you really got a sense of like the layout of the building and like some of the features of the building.
What
But
they
this
were
one,
doing.
this one was like an empty ass building.
What the hell were they doing?
There's nothing
in
in
the
there.
building? I mean, like you feel like you didn't get a sense of what that company did at all.
If they would have shown people like shopping in the mall or
It's
like,
just this rich guy who he can have a building burned down and he'll just build another one.
Yeah.
You don't know what he does.
The only time you ever see people are when there are Hong Kong citizens watching The Rock on like.
Cheering
So
for him.
let's move to Act 2 because Act 2 is where it gets weird. So in Act 2 is where you see the infamous crane scene where he climbs the crane so that he can jump into the building above the fire that the terrorists started. Which how did they even get in that building? Like they drilled through a wall on like the 60th floor.
Yeah, we gotta get. There's a couple points. Some of this is just ridiculous.
Go for it.
All right, how did they start a fire with water?
That was weird too. I didn't understand that because they
some sort of chemical.
they had some kind of
Yeah, just some chemical.
Yeah,
sure.
some chemical. They didn't
It
explain
showed
it.
it on the jar, but I didn't.
Well,
They
it
didn't
was.
explain it. They're just like, oh, turn on the sprinklers.
Is there a chemical that reacts with a fire suppressing system to start a fire? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like,
There must be.
I guess.
I can imagine that.
I can imagine they didn't explain that at all. That's the thing. And no, it didn't sound like you guys caught that.
No, I
either.
didn't.
They're just like, oh yeah, water explosion. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really
like-
get when that was happening.
Yeah, water on chemical equals firework explosion sparklers fire.
I didn't understand how they drilled into the like 60th floor of the building because I thought the guy was in the basement, and that turns out he's in the room like on the 60th floor by where the wife and kids are, and he's just walking by like,
When
oh,
you
hey.
grab that technician. That was a good
that
jump
giant
scare.
arm came out.
Yeah,
I knew that.
like, I knew it was gonna come.
Oh,
but it was
yeah,
still,
totally.
I got
No, okay, a
jump scare.
hole happens, and he has a flashlight, and he's looking in, he can't see
And he
anybody.
leans in.
Yeah, but then an arm attacks him, and there's 10 people in the hole, and you don't see anybody with a flashlight.
Of course not.
What the fuck?
They had to give you a little jump scare to remind you you're watching a movie. Because by this point,
Yeah, I
it
thought
was kind
something
of
scary
boring.
was gonna happen. It was just some guy. He wasn't wearing a mask or anything. He was pretty normal. Like,
So at this point in the movie, they also introduced the Hong Kong police, the man and the woman, who I feel like they got a lot of their part cut because they seemed more important than they were. They didn't really do much besides like the wife's side plot later. But they just sit around like musing on whether or not he's a terrorist, like The Rock is bad or
Is
whatever.
this movie like an extra half hour longer in China?
that's dude. I was just gonna
Oh.
say
Gotta be.
they
It's
cut
gotta be.
that
bet it
stuff
is.
out and left it all Chinese
Yeah.
for them probably. That's
I know in
what-
Iron Man 3 they filmed like an extra 10 minutes just for China, just to like
Transformers as well.
appeal to them. Yeah,
I could see
I
that.
can totally see that too.
100%.
I was actually wondering, Riley, as the father of a young boy and girl, how did the plot where they were getting kidnapped? Can you relate to what The Rock did, where he climbed up the crane and swung the giant hook?
Sure, yeah.
Do you have your kids yell "Who loves me more"?
All the
Oh yeah,
There's some weird, I don't know.
I think-
super cheesy. That wouldn't happen in real life.
Yeah,
Right.
I think the most ridiculous, one of the most ridiculous parts of all this is when he's sitting there, he's like, that building's on fire, my family's in there. First thing he does is goes and climbs the crane. He doesn't talk to anyone, he doesn't really do anything other than he just assumes that they're gonna be dead. And it's like, and I know he knows the building layout, but it's like, if you don't climb a crane as your first move with one leg,
Well, he has guns pointed at him. You could change your mind there.
yeah, I'm gonna climb that, and then
Yeah,
You
well,
don't have time to think.
you know, you never know, like, his family could have been just making it down safely, and then he's climbing up the crane, and now the whole thing becomes they gotta save him.
Yeah,
off
I like how
crane.
the Hong Kong police are chasing him. I feel like they put that in there because they were like, no one's going to jump unless the police were shooting at him. But like, because he was like framed for this thing, he was like barely framed. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal.
like
But-
immediately that detective was like, it's not him. He's saving his family or whatever. Like he knew that. He's like, his family must be in there. What?
And then they were all like shooting at him, even though he wasn't. If anything, he was gonna die jumping off the crane. But they were like
Yeah.
shooting at him, and then he told the cop guy told him to stop over the mic. And
And he,
Yeah.
The Rock never got tired. Like he did all this like climbing and like grip
He
intensive.
climbed 80 stories
Yeah.
on a crane, and he's like,
Yep.
"Yeah, I'm fine, whatever.
It's
Don't
great.
need a breather or anything."
with one leg, you know, you're gonna be perfectly fine, not out of breath. You know, nice looking clothes.
Did fucking monkey bars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that monkey bar
Dude,
thing.
Jesus.
Also, so did you guys feel it was weird when the scene where he saves his wife and son and tells them to get in the elevator and tells them he's going to release it to free fall and says
Yeah.
count to 5 and then pull this valve? I was like, this is the dumbest
No, don't
thing.
even get started with that because the physics on that are impossibly
Yeah,
wrong.
don't work.
And
Yeah,
she,
yeah,
she
they're
didn't
dead
start
every
counting
time.
until like they were in there for a while. And then what if the valve got stuck? Oh, guess you're dead.
If you slam on the brakes like they did, they
Yeah.
would be flying upwards.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
No,
crazy.
the elevator's gonna fall faster than them. They're gonna hit the ceiling of the elevator, and then when they slam on the brakes, they're gonna splat, man. Every time they fell 500 feet. Okay,
Yeah.
get real.
It was
that's death.
highly weird. Like,
But
why
they
would
stopped
you do
just in
that?
time, so it's okay.
Yeah, so
Like that was
I didn't
probably
like that
actually the
part.
most ridiculous of all of it because they like some of this isn't too crazy to imagine maybe, but like
Mm-hmm.
you know that is like all right. And I don't know, you know what else are you gonna do? I guess you just launch your kids down an elevator.
No, but the stupid thing is when it's the boy and girl, and the boy tells the girl to go up 3 stories, and she can
Oh,
randomly
yeah.
do it, but he can't.
So, suddenly she's just there. Like they get to a point. I feel like that was another weird cut where they get to
Yeah.
a point where he's like, "My sister's up there. I'm here. We're all fine." Because it was like the next scene they got where they needed to be.
Uh-huh.
There was no struggle or anything.
Yeah, like the only reason why she randomly went up 3 stories is so the Rock would have like a reason to keep on going.
Mm.
That's about it. But we can't skip over when it's just the mom and the boy, and the Rock has to hold up the bridge.
Oh my god,
We
that
can't skip that.
they needed to give The Rock his like barbarian scene.
He's literally holding up a piece of the bridge that is not even 3 feet, like
No.
3 feet long.
I mean, and they make it. The problem is they don't explain that till it falls. So he's like, I gotta hold the whole bridge, and he's
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
bridge.
you would
You're
think
like,
the whole bridge would fall, but no, it's this little
Yeah,
gap
just a little
that's not
slat,
even as big
yeah.
as my foot.
it's like all they had to do is get a longer board, and then you know they.
No, there's no time. He had to
no
hold it
time.
like
I'm
this.
gonna hold the whole entire bridge.
Oh,
I
then-
can't do anything, just show my muscles.
And then his wife Nev Campbell like fell off and like should have died because of the way it was moving around. But she catches herself and it's fine. It's great.
She's okay.
I like how they gave her some ass to kick. I thought that was kind of cool.
I like how they gave her like the mom who doesn't know technology, and then that ends up being
Oh
the
my
end
god!
of the movie.
Yeah,
But
so
we'll get there.
We'll get there. I'll I'll retroactively say in the first act, one of the first scenes is that the wife, Neve Campbell, needs to go to the Rock to fix her phone. He turns it off. He turns it back on, and then he gives her a lecture about every time there's anything wrong with electronics, turn it off and turn it back on again. This comes back for some
fix it.
For some reason. This comes back in the end. Anyway,
and we literally were like, nope, not true, right from the beginning.
The last big scene in the second act would be the rappelling scene where he rappels down the side of the skyscraper and jumps through the wind turbine to access the safe room panel.
Yeah,
which is
okay.
What's the guy's?
Chow, I think, is the guy.
To unlock his penthouse.
Yeah, Chow is the guy who built the skyscraper. He's locked himself in his penthouse with some mysterious thing. We don't know what it is at this point. But the terrorists want him out. They want the Rock to repel and do this and open it up because he's the security expert. And they're going to throw his daughter off the skyscraper if he doesn't do it.
He pretty much does the thing from Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, but instead of having like tech gloves like Ethan Hunt does, he has duct tape. That just wraps around his hand.
The other weird thing they did as an homage to Die Hard, I'm sure, is like he used a lot of duct tape for a lot of things, and he talked to himself as he was applying duct tape to his body.
So weird.
Like duct tape fixes everything, like winking at the audience. Like
I mean, the one thing I'll say about that scene, there should have been way more of this the whole time. Is he goes, "This is stupid." Yeah. And he says, "This is stupid," and the whole time he should have been more like that, because at least it alleviates the ridiculousness of what happened afterwards.
Yeah, he should have said, "Oh, this is stupid," at least like 6 times in this movie.
The whole movie.
That should be his catchphrase.
Instead of the other things that he was explaining, that was some of the worst parts, was him explaining what he was doing to himself.
Yeah.
not yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. I mean, this is stupid.
He had to get the audience ready for what was about to happen.
He had to prepare the audience because they were all stupid. he's like everybody's stupid. We have to explain everything.
Hey, we went to that movie.
I know. Isn't that horrible? No.
I used my movie pass. I'm okay.
I felt pretty bad about it. Anyway,
you know what's one thing we jumped over?
Oh yeah.
Oh no. We jumped over the crane jump.
Oh, the crane. Oh yeah, we did. Yeah.
How did we jump that?
How he catches it on like glass. Basically, and he pulls himself up.
Oh yeah, his hands were fucked. Should have been.
Yeah, exactly.
He had like an 8-inch piece of glass that was just in his shoulder blade, and he pulls it out and he's perfectly fine.
And then he uses that arm to
and he uses his arm like for the majority of the movie, and he's just fine.
No, Jake, he duct taped it up. It fixes everything.
Of course it does. He said it did.
Yeah,
and he had that other cut from the beginning where he needed stitches. Remember?
Yeah. When the first bad guy cut him, like the neck burns. He cut him on his arm, like right here.
Like, you're gonna need stitches, and then later he gets stabbed in that same arm, and that whole movie was great. He did great with it.
And they he monkey barred himself around and, held onto that rope.
The giant piece of glass in his arm. I felt more for him when he wrapped the tape around his giant arm. And it's like that would hurt the whole rest of your day.
I would say though, when he started scaling and they started, the helicopter starts shooting at him and everybody shoots at him, and then he jumps and he makes that jump of like 30 feet with one leg after climbing an entire crane. I mean, that to me come on.
But let's go over his original plan because he uses this crane and he bashes a window open with like the ball, and the ball magically like connects to the room that he like broke the glass out of, and he was gonna just like climb that connecting.
He was going to use his shirt to like repel into it or something.
But then the ball falls. They're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going to run back. Oh, I'm going to get shot. I guess I'm going to run.
Yeah,
I'm going to jump in this thing.
Yeah, that
moment where his one-leggedness didn't matter. He became the fastest guy in the world, outrunning bullet shots, and then he just launches 30 feet, jumps further than any man ever can jump.
This movie also suffered from no one can shoot. Like nobody can aim their gun unless they really need to.
That's a pretty difficult one, though, right?
There's a point where the terrorists are going to extract Chow and his security team and whatever, and the security guy gets taken down, and he grabs his gun, and his last act is to shoot the terrorist helicopter pilot, and then the guy leans onto his control stick and the helicopter goes forward and chops a bunch of the terrorists that weren't important, that had masks on or something. And you're like, oh, that guy is really effective, and they were going to parachute off the building, I guess, after that.
See, that's like stereotype stupid, where you're like, oh, I mean, I saw that coming from a mile away, but I mean, I was like, but that's dumb.
Jumping back to where they told him they're going to throw his daughter off the roof, they said, get him out of there and bring us the thing, and they left him there alone. I thought that was bizarre. I was like, they really just left him there and were like, hey, I trust you. And obviously he gets to the guy and he finds out that this MacGuffin thing is a like tracking numbers for all these bank accounts for like 3 mafias or something. Like he's like, yeah, it's like 3 mafias or whatever.
The thing was like a butt plug.
Yeah, it was like a little
It was really weird. Like, it was like this USB thing that
Yeah.
you're supposed to plug in, but it was big, and I don't know why it was that big.
I don't know, and I don't know why the whole point of setting the building on fire was so that that guy would take it out of his safe, but the way he explained it made it seem like he didn't need to take it out of the safe because all the information was online,
Mm-hmm.
so it didn't make much sense. He said if they get their hands on it, they can reverse engineer it, but if they could never get into the safe, they could never... That's why the movie made no sense to me. Like, the whole plot hinged on, like, nothing, but...
And they didn't even try to, like, I feel like
No.
they barely explained it. There was one point where he says all this stuff, and it's just like, yeah, it doesn't matter, explosions, whatever, you know.
So anyway, they obviously they have their plan they put together because none of the terrorists stayed with them, and they go up to the roof to the Pearl where anything can happen, and guess what?
The
It
fucking
does.
mirrors are back.
We go into a Hall of Mirrors funhouse shootout battle where The Rock pulls a sword out of his pants.
With duct tape.
The Rock pulls a full-size samurai sword out of his pant leg and cuts this dude. Oh, another weird side plot of the movie. He says he hasn't touched a gun in 10 years. And apparently that's a big deal. But the point where he gets a gun, it doesn't matter.
He never learned anything. This movie had no point in that sense. I was so mad about that because the more I think about it, nobody learns anything other than to restart your device. And that is not nobody learned anything. Like, dude, that is not something to listen to. Don't do that in your real life. That's a terrible concept.
So anyway, to set up what we're about to complain about, he wins. He beats all the terrorists. He's up there with his daughter and with Chow. The building is burning. Oh, by the way, all the terrorists had parachutes. And he's going to sit up there and he's like, well, baby girl, we're going to burn to death now. Like, he doesn't even try. He just sits there and gives up.
It's like a Toy Story 3 ending.
Oh my
where
God.
they're in the
Yeah.
incinerator.
They're about
It's
to
like,
burn.
okay, I know my fate. I'm just going to die.
But on the ground, his wife got out. She's also some kind of Marine medic or something. She goes with the police to go stop the other terrorist on the ground. They stop them. She gets a hold of this tablet that controls the entire building. And Jake, please take it from here.
Oh, it's so fucking stupid. I don't even want
Because
to
you
say
bitched
it.
about this the most.
Yeah, because she's just like, okay, she's not good with electronics, but yet she can go in a different language and go through all this UI that she has no idea, she's never picked it up before. And then she finds a reset button magically.
It was bilingual, I believe.
What's that?
It had Chinese.
Yeah, it had both, which is even more confusing.
Yeah, that's kind of...
But she goes through, he's like, reboot, like, oh yeah, I'll do that. So she presses the button, and then all the lights shut off. And then all the lights turn back on, and everything's magically fine.
Yeah,
Like, if that's the fucking case, why didn't you do that in the first place?
the fire
They didn't have
system,
the tablet, though.
like the
The
fire,
Rock had the tablet.
The Asian lady had the tablet.
No.
The
evil
Rock had
one.
the tablet.
the evil Asian lady stole it from The Rock,
Remember?
and because they needed it to get into the second building or whatever.
Yeah, she kicks the Asian
Yeah.
lady in the face
Oh,
and gets the tablet.
wait. Here's a novel concept. Why only have one fucking tablet?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Have two. The guy who owns the place should have a tablet.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
Only The Rock can control everything in the tower with his fucking potato face.
Potato face.
And the
No,
only
that
reason they
makes no
did that
sense.
was because he was like trying to get them insurance.
They don't even know him hardly.
So stupid.
They bring him in for like an interview to his small company. He's not even from there, and they're like, "We'll give you everything." Like, oh,
Full access.
So this wife who needed to give her phone to her husband to figure out how to use it can magically save the day by rebooting the system.
She turns it off and she turns it back on, and the
It's
fires
so
go out
fucking stupid.
immediately.
No. Here's the thing: the fires were actually kind of still burning. I mean, it didn't go out. That's
There
the
were
problem.
embers. Yeah.
Yeah, it went to embers more quickly than you'd imagine.
Yeah, but then
Yeah,
like once
yeah.
this happens, like she's so happy about what she just did. Like the cop detective, the main guy, he's like, "What did you just do?" And she's like, "I turned it off and I turned it back on."
The smuggest
Moral.
face. on
Yeah,
it.
and then they started laughing about it. Like, this
Yeah.
is so fucking
No,
horrible.
that's what you learned. That's what the audience learned from this movie. That was the point. That was their big thing. Like, oh, good one.
The last point of issue I took was when he gets down to the bottom, meets up with his wife, and then that Hong Kong police officer looks at him and says, like, he says his character's name, I can't think of it. He says, "Dwayne Johnson, nice to finally meet you." And then he turns around and he walks the fuck away because I know they were doing a Die Hard thing and it just didn't work because they did not interact. It was like this guy's he was a cop on the ground, he believed in you, but in Die Hard it was like they were speaking to each other and they built a bond and then
Did we see how The Rock got down from that building?
No.
He just was down there, right?
Probably just jumped. I don't know.
Yeah, no doubt. They didn't say that, you know.
Yeah, he just got down there.
Was it a helicopter?
Probably.
Maybe.
But is there a
Could've
safe
been.
place to land a helicopter on a fucking burning building?
Because the helipad got like knocked off. Right?
Yeah, the helipad got
They did
destroyed.
not do any of that.
Did we mention the pearl thing? Like when he's introducing it in the beginning, the owner of the building called it like that. It's like heaven.
Oh yeah, that was.
They kept mentioning that.
That was
They're
so
like, it's like
ham-fisted,
heaven, and
yeah.
they never brought that back. They never, that's one of those things you keep saying it. So then at the end, you can say either stupid line like, "Oh yeah, now you know why it's called heaven" or something. And
My big theory, which I was thinking about it more, it doesn't make any sense, but that like by the end it was burning, so it was like hell. But there's no thematic bridge to that.
That should
They
have
could
been a
have
line.
said
at
it,
least,
a line, yeah. And
Yeah, it
maybe
could have been
a cool
anything.
line, yeah.
Well, they didn't do any good like one-liners in this movie either,
Nah.
which is part of the joylessness of
It's
it.
like a bunch of dad jokes about
Yeah.
Pretty much.
duct tape.
Yeah.
and-
Tape joke. That was
Yeah,
it.
that's like fucking Home Improvement type bullshit.
Yeah. And Home Improvement's
How many duct tape jokes or mentions?
I think there were
At least 5.
3 or 4. Yeah, at least 5. Well, I'd go with at least 5.
5 instances of duct tape. Like when the owner and The Rock, they came up with this plan that we didn't know about.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
like, I have a plan, let's go. And then, not even a minute later, the guy breaks out of his like duct tape handcuffs, and The Rock's like, "This wasn't part of the plan."
They're like-
you don't fucking know what the plan is.
The viewer, like they didn't say anything, so the viewer is like, we all basically knew like, yeah, they planned this, but we don't know how it was supposed to go. So it's like
Nope.
there's no tension because
Doesn't even care.
No, my favorite part of that is that when he jumps out of the turbine and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
The
hanging,
explosion.
the explosion and the
Oh
turbine.
my
and then
God.
his prosthetic leg is the one he catches in the rope, and he's hanging upside down by his prosthetic.
Oh yeah, and then
leg.
he crunches himself up, and then he gets up there, but then he has to grab his leg because it falls out
yeah,
at
he
the very
pops his
last
leg out
second.
finally. Yeah,
And
it's
then he like throws the leg to stop a door from closing, which is from a safe room
Yeah.
that would fucking break this leg in a million pieces. The leg is so strong, it's The Rock's leg.
Yeah.
greatest leg ever made.
Like
Yeah,
adamantium.
the only tool. Adamantium. Yeah, it's the only tool he ever needed.
And the mirror scene could have been really fucking cool.
Oh yeah,
If
they did
would
it
have used
practically.
real
Yeah.
fucking mirrors.
Yep, it was all CGI, and it was painful CGI.
Well,
Really
like,
bad.
that was like LED TV panels, right?
So
Yeah. So it was. I guess you could kind of get away with it by saying like it's panels or whatever, but it just didn't look
you
right.
could see like pixels when they got shot up and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and then, like the thing, I don't think we ever finished our thought, where he pulls out his sword at the end,
Oh yeah.
but he's, the whole thing was at the very beginning, he had a terrorist guy with a bomb on
Oh
his
my
chest.
God.
He could have killed the kid, and then he has the gun in his hand, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna shoot him," and then the guy blows up. But at the end of the movie, he has a gun in
He
his
should
hand.
have fucking
Shot him,
Yeah,
and then you would
that's a
have
good
learned
point.
something, and the
Yeah.
character would have had a full circle, and then we'd have a decent movie.
You can't have a pro gun thing in 2018 though. It'd be real.
Yeah,
Let's be
instead
real.
he just drops the gun and didn't learn anything.
Yeah, I was thinking like
Not at all.
when you saw the daughter being held by the guy in the same way that the kid was in the beginning, I thought this is redemption because exactly like
he'll learn this.
he's gonna
time
do
to
the
shoot
right
it.
thing this time, but instead he's like, I'm actually behind you because the LEDs are all fucky. And it just like kicks him.
Yeah, which then completely destroys that initial setup because it's like you couldn't have ever been behind him in the first scenario.
No, don't
So
you
then-
realize he should have just been behind him on an LED the whole time?
Yeah.
And he was literally like less than 10 feet, so
Yeah.
you can't hear him behind you.
Yeah,
He's just fucking there.
Yeah, he didn't hear him say it.
Not at
The
all.
thing is, he's like, oh, you know what he learned? He's like, I really wish we had those LEDs when I was in that war scenario.
Oh my
before."
god.
Yeah.
That's what you learn, I guess. I don't know.
We gotta stop bitching about this.
Yeah,
we can talk
let's
forever.
let's
Jump
I was gonna say
around.
something cool about the grenade explosion.
Oh my god, he kicks him down the thing and then he blows it.
That was a
There-
I laughed at.
I laughed at that too. That was-
I liked it.
That reminded me of Rambo 3 when he does the same exact thing and the guy blows up with the grenade. Anyway,
Yeah,
Cool.
he falls and the grenade explodes and he...
cool it with the spoilers. We're gonna reel it back to our official ratings. So 5-star scale, half stars count. What do you rate Skyscraper, Riley? Let's start with you. Out of 5.
I'm gonna well,
And give it some reasoning or whatever, yeah.
I don't have any. Oh, I'll explain my movie rating system compared to yours.
Oh,
guys. Well,
wait a second. Jake gets very angry.
Well, no, I'll keep it on your what is it, 0 to 5?
Convert it to 5, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be like 5 is like mind blowing, 4.5 is like amazing, 4 is great.
Jake, where's the official reference guide?
It's somewhere.
Okay.
And it's fine, bad, awful, and walked out. I never walked out of a movie. I'm gonna give probably a 3. I'm gonna say it's good.
Yeah.
Maybe a 3.5 if any of the jokes landed for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got.
If they'd done a little punch up, it would have been a little better.
Yeah, if they had one extra rider on there.
Anybody to back it up
one
and
more
listen.
guy. Yeah, one more dude.
Somebody to listen and be like, that's not funny.
This movie had some fun parts, but I mean, this movie is Die Hard, pretty much. Like, if this was R-rated, it would have been so much better. It's not. It's PG-13. It just plays everything safe.
Yep.
This is just like every other Rock movie that's come out in the past like 12 months. I gave Jumanji 2 a 3 out of 5. I gave Rampage a 3 out of 5. I'm giving Skyscraper a 3 out of 5. It's just
really
like anything that I give 2.5 and below, I would say you could pretty much pass.
Right.
3 is just like if you want to just get drunk and watch a dumb movie, just do this Skyscraper.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not a must watch for me.
No, not at all.
I wouldn't recommend it or anything.
No, if it is on Netflix or HBO or some shit, yeah, just try it.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Not a must watch at all. You know, if you want to go see a generic action movie, it's you know, we're in the height of The Rock's prime. So, you know, and which is weird because he's pretty old, but you know, they're really running through him. If you want to see The Rock in his era, like seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger in his era, just go see it. It's not a great movie, but you know that when The Rock isn't doing this stuff anymore, this is what he did. You know. But I'm going to say there's action points, and it is what it is. I think if you watch the trailer, you pretty much feel it's not that great.
right.
I'm not very excited. I would not suggest to run out and spend any money. You can maybe watch it if you like they were saying. You know, watch it if you just kind
If you have a movie pass.
Yeah, you feel like it's free.
of
Good value for your buck.
it's free, or you're doing like a rock marathon or something.
Or a podcast about it.
Yeah, hey, yeah, okay, yeah. All right. So, you know, I would say probably a 2.5. Right in the middle, you know, even though like on Jake's scale that's bad. You know, I mean, I don't think it's that good. Whatever, dude, like, you know, in my scale of movies across the world, this is not something I care for.
Definitely not.
Not a funny line in it, not really a good there's not a line I'm gonna be like referencing ever.
Right. I can't remember many lines of dialogue.
Oh,
at
I
all.
used duct tape. Like that might have been the line for that movie. And
Hopefully got the sponsorship.
there could have been a line. There could have been so many chances. So, you know, 2.5, you know, it's whatever.
Yeah, to me, I'm surprised I'm going the lowest here.
Wow.
So I was thinking about it, and I to kind of add to how I scale these things, I was like, I'm probably never going to watch this movie again.
Yeah.
I have no desire to. It's not anything special. It's pretty bland. It's not even like average to me, which I would put at 2.5. I'm just going to go a little lower than average as a 2-star movie.
According to
It's
our
fine.
Kind of agree with
according to our
that.
scale, that's a bad movie.
It's a bad movie. Yeah, it's a bad movie. Because I go with, well, is 3 stars average?
Average.
2.5.
There you go.
2.5. Just
In between
just
bad and average.
Yeah, just below average.
That's what keeps me. I'll say it.
It's not worth watching, but if it's on TV or something, just go for it. Great. Anyway, that has been our review of... How does John do that? That has been our review of Skyscraper. Let us know what you think in the comments. Does he say that?
He does.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. If you're on YouTube or some other place, you can comment. Anyway, let's wrap this up with a little game
Oh boy.
of... change my voice. Metacritical. Hit the theme.
It's critical, we wanna get critical. Digging us the critical, digging into deeper thoughts. The deeper thoughts, digging into deeper thoughts. Yeah.
This is Metacritical. Here are the rules. I'm going to give you the name of a movie after a long-winded explanation of what that movie is. You are going to give me a score of what you think the average critic score is on Metacritic between 0 and 100. You will also tell me if you think that the users on Metacritic think the movie is better or worse than the critics do. I will score you based on how many points off of the actual score you are. You will get 1 point knocked off of your total score if you are correct about the user score. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
So, is there a theme?
There is a theme. There's a theme.
He's a storyteller.
I get into this. Okay.
I forgot.
The Rock has been in a lot of movies over the last few years, but he's still not as common as actual rocks. This is Metacritic Geology Edition. The Country of Love was the perfect setting for a movie about the symbol of love, a diamond. When the coach of France's soccer team is murdered and his enormous pink diamond ring stolen, Steve Martin competes with Kevin Kline to solve the case, taking on the role of what may become one of his final characters, the detective Jacques Clouseau. But did this adventure comedy shine like a diamond, or was it closer to rock bottom? The movie is The Pink Panther.
You're disgusting.
2006. All right, let's start with Riley. What do you got?
I put 72.
72. All right.
The users rated it higher.
Users higher. Jake.
69, bro.
69, bruh. Huh?
And it's higher.
Seth.
See, I'm doing like what I did last time. I'm gonna go low, which is 46, and the users are higher.
All right. The actual Metacritic score for The Pink Panther, 38.
Oh, God.
And the user
That movie's
score,
horrible.
the user score, 64. They liked it quite a bit more.
Whoa. I mean, that movie's bad, but I thought families are stupid.
So after the first round,
My favorite.
we've got Riley with 33 points, Jake with 30, and Seth in a commanding lead with 9 points.
I am commanding that. This is action movie
I
awesomeness.
think I saw that movie. I don't remember.
I saw it.
Really
It's
bad.
bad, yeah.
It's not.
Anyway, moving on. In the year 1996, a group of rogue ex-Marines takes the prison island of Alcatraz hostage, threatening to release a deadly gas on San Francisco if their demands are not met. The only people who can stop him, a chemist who can disarm the gas canister bombs, and an ex-con familiar with the prison's layout. In his second huge action film after Bad Boys, Michael Bay directs the all-star cast of Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery, and Ed Harris in a movie with the same name as Skyscraper's lead. The movie is The Rock, 1996.
This is Michael Bay's second movie.
His second big movie.
wow.
I actually had to look that up because I thought it was his first, but Bad Boys was his first like big hit.
I don't know. I'm trying to think if critics would like pan an action movie or not go as high as what I would.
Right.
So I'm trying to play it safe, and I'm going to do 80%.
Okay.
That might still be too high, but I'm going to do 80, and audience is definitely.
Seth.
I really like this movie, but I'm gonna say I'm gonna do what Jake was kind of saying. I actually think they'd pan the movie because it's an action movie, and and so I'm doing 68%. And I think the users liked it more, but I like that movie, so
All right. Riley.
nothing who cares.
I'm gonna do 80.
All right.
And
You and Jake on the same wavelength.
I would give it that, if I were reviewing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the users liked it more.
Okay. The actual Metacritic score for The Rock, 58.
Fucking damn it.
I was 10.
Another big discrepancy because the user score, 87. Okay, so
my
after
God,
the second round of Metacritical, Riley, 54, Jake, 51, Seth, 18.
Oh my god.
Still in the lead, but anything could happen because we are working on a 100-point scale, people. Next up, we move on to a different kind of rock, a stone, Emma Stone. In 2007, she debuted as high school hot chick Jules alongside Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, and Christopher Mintz-Plasse, who would introduce the world to one of the most beloved iconic film characters of all time, McLovin.
Oh, yeah.
The movie, of course, is Superbad, 2007.
I think so.
All right, Seth, you're first this time.
I'm gonna say 72%,
Okay.
and I think the users also liked it more.
All right, Riley.
70, and users liked it more.
And Jake.
I'm going pretty high on this. I'm going 83%.
Okay.
Audiences liked it more.
Yeah.
The actual Metacritic score for Superbad, 76. The users at 80. So the users did like it
I like
more.
Prices Right, you Riley, man. That was so close.
How many rounds? 4?
We got one more round after this.
I'm still fucked.
This final round may already be decided, but as it stands, Riley, 59, Jake, 57, Seth on the lead with 23 points.
Oh my god.
Doing extremely well.
I guess 0% in this next one.
Give us
All right.
a chance.
Maybe it is, you know?
The final movie. When it comes to the security of Earth, who do we rely on most? The military? The EPA? The Avengers? No. When the final threat comes, the event that has the potential to wipe out all life on the planet, there's only one group we can turn to. Michael Clark Duncan, Owen Wilson, Steve Buscemi, Ben Affleck, and Bruce Willis. A misfit crew of geologists and drillers with a little over a week's worth of astronaut training sent on a NASA mission to blow up the biggest damn asteroid we've ever seen. That's right, it's a double dose of Bay today on Metacritical. The film is Armageddon. All right, I think we're back to Riley. Give me a score.
I'm going to stick with 70,
Okay.
and the users liked it more.
Jake.
I think critics hated this movie. I'm going 42%.
Okay.
People liked it more.
Yeah, I went with 68%, and I actually think people didn't like it as much.
All right.
I'm so bad at this. I never look at Metacritic for movie
No, me
reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I only use it for games.
So I'm not gonna tabulate this for Riley. You lost.
Yeah.
The actual Metacritic score for Armageddon is 42. Jake once again hits the fourth. I swear, every time you hit the fourth movie exactly on the nose.
So you tell me there's a chance.
However,
No.
it's not enough to pull you out of that hole. Seth is the champion of Metacritical Geology Edition.
Yeah, all right. Oh, jeez.
This has been Super Media All Stars. Make sure to rate and review us on iTunes. Check us out on Spotify, Google Play, or whatever other bullshit John put this out on.
We are the Expendables.
Yeah, that's a good name for the skeleton crew for SMAS. The Expendables are here.
Instagram at Steelbook Obsessed, putting on my Criterion collection, speaking of that. So, yeah, that's fun.
Your Criterion collection.
Yeah.
Oh, like the movies you have that
Movies,
are okay. Yeah. I thought you were saying like you're forming your own Criterion
Yeah, he's created his own
selection
thing.
of movies.
No.
Okay, that'd be cool too. You should do that. I'd put the Fast and Furious movies in mine.
I definitely would not.
My name's Seth Churchill, also known as Sparky Sin of SinX and Sinx.com, SINNX.com. So go check that out. I got music and art and all this cool stuff. You know, just go to my website.
Check that shit out.
Check that shit out.
I got a website, rileyb.me, and Instagram is RileyJBriggs, where you can see my design and photography work.
All right, and I have nothing to plug at the time. Later.
Bye.
Game over, man. Game over. Bye bye. Wow. And out of here.